How many times have you been at a get-together? You ate something delicious, you've never eaten it before, and you would love to have that recipe, and someone asks you if you have a copy of that recipe. You can create beautiful recipe cards using Canva templates. Now, first, in case you don't know what Canva is, it is a browser-based design tool that you can sign up for a free account at canva.com. It is a template-based design program that has a massive list of options when it comes to templates, from simple things like resumes to social media posts, a video, a thumbnail images for your YouTube channel, background photos for your LinkedIn. The list goes on. It also has templates for what I call fun things, like creating recipe cards for your favorite recipes for yourself or to give to others. That is the focus of your training in this short video, is how to create recipe cards. What you're going to learn is I'm going to give you a quick overview of Canva, part of which I've already done, but you need to know a little bit about navigation, because I'm going to assume that those who are watching this video, that some may be very advanced in Canva and others may use it a little bit, and some of you maybe never. But that's the beauty of Canva, is you don't have to be a designer to create, and you can start with minimal to no knowledge with using Canva. So again, if you want to create a free account, it has a tremendous amount in the free account. I have the pro account because I need more of the bells and whistles that are there. But I used the free version for years before I went to a paid version. Canva is 10 years old now, and I've been using it for the entire 10 years that they've been out. And I would not want to be without Canva for my design projects of various types. Okay, now back to you. What we're doing. You will learn a little bit about templates in general, and then we'll dive right into the recipe card creation. In addition, when you're creating recipe cards, these templates have their own images, but you may want to take a photo of your finished product and upload it with that recipe card that you are creating. By default, the recipe cards are 4x6, but sizes can be changed, but we'll be working with the default size, which is a 4x6. You will learn how to upload your photos so that you can use your own, and then you will learn how you're going to export, share, and print those designs so that either you can put them in your own recipe box or share them with others, or all of the above. Officially, this is the Canva website. This is what you would see when you go to canva.com to sign up for an account. And then, if we haven't met before, officially, my name is Donna Gilliland, and I'm the founder of Moss Training, where I have been empowering the workforce with the latest technologies to enhance productivity since 2004. The company started as a Microsoft Office Solutions company where I taught, and still do, productivity classes to companies in the Microsoft Office suite of products. But over the past 20 years, I teach so much more, which includes social media, digital marketing, and personal branding. Having said that, let's move on. Let's get started with you learning how to create stunning recipe cards using Canva templates. This next screen that I have, this is what you will see when you first come into Canva. You do need to know a little bit about navigation before we start diving in to creating a template. To the far left-hand side, you have a vertical menu bar for getting back to the home base of Canva. You have a folder for projects. You will need to know about that in this session, because when you create, your project will be stored to that folder. For example, after you create your recipe cards, you may realize that you didn't put one of your special tips or a piece of instruction, whatever the need is to get back to it, so that you can edit it, it goes into the projects folder. The third one is for templates. That's what we're going to be using. That's what we're going to be using. Now, let's go to the main part of the screen over here in this large area here. As I said a moment ago, Canva has a mass amount of the types of designs that you can create, and they give you quick navigation to some of the more common ones. As you look, you'll see a horizontal list here to get to a template to create a LinkedIn post, template to create a YouTube thumbnail, Instagram, videos, social media, custom size, start from scratch designs. Below, it will give you a category of, for example, recent designs. So these are some of my recent designs. But we won't go over all these things. We want to get into what you need to learn, which is, I just want to create that recipe card. How do I do it with the least amount of knowledge? And that's what we're about to do. Looking back on the left-hand side to the menu vertical bar, we are at home base and we're creating a template. Choose that option, templates on the left, and then the far right of the screen changes to be relevant to what you've asked for, which are templates. Now at the very top, it's going to say search thousands of templates, and we'll be using the keyword or words we need to get the recipe card templates. But just beneath it, it also gives you categories of templates that are available for your quick design, such as business. I'll go through just a little bit of this. Business, when I click, I get all different types of options as it relates to creating from templates that are relative to business. Social media, and it changes to show what those are. Now we're going to go to search thousands of templates. That's at the top. And at the top where it says search thousands of templates, you can start by simply typing in recipe cards. If you wanted the recipe cards to be more specific for your use, maybe it has to do with gluten-free, recipe cards for gluten-free, we are going to just type recipe cards. And after typing recipe cards and you press the enter key, then the screen changes to show only templates relative to recipe cards. When you look just beneath that search bar and over to the left, you'll see a purple button that says Canva Templates. And beneath it tells you that based upon what you've asked for, there are 1,111 templates for you to choose from as your base start. With that said, these are the things I like to keep in mind when I'm creating my recipe cards. I have a specific look I like when I'm creating cards. Personally, I like either my image to be over to the upper left or at the top. I also want to make sure that the one I'm choosing, it has a place for my ingredients, enough of a large enough list for my ingredients, for the instructions. And at this point, it's a matter of you first just doing a quick scan through scrolling and looking at these different ones to see if there is any one of these that you think you want to be your start point. Just keep in mind what I said earlier, having it laid out in a way that works best for how you want the recipe card to look, as well as is it going to be enough room for everything. So I'm going to start with this one that says pumpkin bread. When you click a template, another screen comes up and it tells you over on the right. Now, by the way, before I explain this, you're seeing on my screen where it says Pro. It means that this particular template comes with the paid version of Canva, which is what I have. But that doesn't mean if you don't have the paid version, this does not mean you're not going to be that you're not going to have many templates to choose from. This just happens to be a pro version. It tells you that the recipe card is a 4x6 and who the creator of this design is. And then at this point, I like this. Down below, because this is the one I chose, then Canva gives you a little bit more help here. It shows you more like this. So now as I look, it's narrowed it down even more for me. So I've got a base start of what visually I think I want, but then as I look on down under the more like this, I see some others. And maybe those are the ones, or maybe there's one of those I'd rather have. That's very helpful. I also want to bring something to your attention before we start designing here. Notice that there's an option here on mine that says recipe card. It might be that you, in some cases, you just want to print out a recipe card for everybody to be able to write their favorite recipe. Maybe it's a recipe exchange, whatever it is. So when we were back at the template list and you chose recipe cards, there is a template and that's just the recipe card that you're able to print and then hand out to everybody. With that said, I'm going with what I've got. And at the top right, there's the option, as there always will be when you choose a template, to customize it to your liking. Because when it comes in, it's going to have the ingredients and instructions relative to that item, and you're going to need to change the title and the instructions and your image to meet your needs. It's just that you get to do it the easy way. It's already laid out for you. You just got to know where to click and what to type. And we're going to choose customize this template. And in a moment, the screen changes again. I want to remind you of something. Because this is a browser-based program, every time you're in a project and you want to get back to it in the browser, when you look in your browser, you can see that it tells you the name of the project you're working on. So if I were to open any others, it would then open a tab in the browser and I can go back and forth between these different ones. Something else to know before we start with our design is that in the upper right, it will tell you the name of the recipe card. And I always want to rename what my recipe cards are, because remember, they're going to be held in that project folder that you need to get back to. This needs to be the name of your recipe. I'm going to go ahead and change mine by clicking in that box and dragging over it. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stay with mine, which is pumpkin bread. But I do have one that I sent out to everyone last year, to all the subscribers to my newsletter, on my favorite sweet potato casserole. And I had it. And I used one of these templates to quickly create. So this one, I'm just going to put in pumpkin bread. The point to it is you need to name your recipe card. Also, when it comes in, it is not going to be magnified probably enough for you to be able to see well enough to work on the design. So look at the bottom right. It'll tell you how many pages your card project is, which by default it's 1, but you can add multiple pages to create. More about that coming. Down in the bottom right, you'll see what zoom percentage that it has defaulted to. Mine's defaulted to 121%. You have two choices. You can either use the zoom slide bar to slide to the point you want, or when you click the value for the zoom magnification, it pops up with a pre-built list to choose from. Personally, I like to use the slider because I'm seeing that magnification in front of me, and when it gets to the magnification I need, then I stop sliding. So I'm going to use my slider, and I'm sliding, and that's about 180%, and I can see that pretty good. Now let's talk about how you're going to make it your own. For one, at the top here where it says pumpkin bread, if this is not what you're creating for, it needs to say it. In my case, it would be sweet potato casserole, but whatever it is, you can change the title. When you click in these boxes, they are text boxes. The pumpkin bread, it's filled with text boxes and one photo, a default photo. Now, when you enter into any of these text boxes, you're going to get a menu of choices relative to working with text. And it's a menu bar that will float just above whatever you've clicked in. And there's an option to change the font and the size and the color, and whether you want it uppercase. Pumpkin bread is currently in uppercase, but that button would let you bring it down to a lowercase. You also have a button for if you're creating a list. For example, the ingredients list is a bulleted list. If those were instructions, which you do have instructions in this one, this has been created where it is a numeric list, as it should be, because there are steps. The point, though, is the button is a toggle, where you can toggle to be a bulleted list or a numeric list. Then over on the right is a button for spacing, so you can change letter spacing, line spacing. If there's too much line spacing in one of these, you can control it there. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on those things. The main thing is you getting your card created and being aware of the options that appear in that floating menu when you activate a text box. Now, for the image, when you click the image, up comes your floating menu bar, and the options in it are relative to working with an image. Now, I'm working with the Pro version, so I have the option to remove the background of an image if I didn't want the background. There's the option to edit the image, to animate it, to change the position. But I'm going to move my box around. For the pumpkin bread, I'm looking and I'm seeing it's a little too far down for me. So when you click in a text box, you will get a four-headed arrow. When you click and drag, you'll see the four-headed arrow. Then it has some text below that. All this is generic text. And this one says, this is easy pumpkin bread. It's a fall favorite. If you want to add, which you will need to, your own comments there, special tips, etc., then you simply need to double click inside that text box, or click inside the text. Let me come out of it first. There we go. So once click to activate, clicking again selects it all without you having to click and drag, and you can type over it. And then, of course, this is a movable container by clicking inside and dragging. Down below, it's got the prep time, the cook time, and the servings. You will need to modify all those to meet your recipe. Then down below, once again, everything now at this point is you changing the instructions and the ingredients for your recipe. Now, with that said, let's talk about the image. And I was looking at the image, it was a little too far down for me. I'm just dragging it up to the top. So let's talk about the image at 2 levels before we do anything more with this recipe card. If you don't have an image of your finished product, but you'd like to have one, you might be able to find one, and I have, in my own case, find one that's close look to what the recipe might look like. Then you can use photos from the left-hand side. You have a menu bar on the left-hand side. We work with that a little bit. Because you're in design mode, then you've got different options in that menu. I want to focus on the one that says photos. When you click photos, there will be a pane that appears to the immediate right that are relative to photos, and you can search for photos that you want. Or here, we're going to work on the preface that I'm actually doing one for the sweet potato casserole. So in the images, I'm going to type the search box, sweet potato casserole. And I've done this before, so it's in my auto list, my recent list. And up comes a large list. And here's one that shows a sweet potato casserole. Now, when I make mine doesn't have marshmallows. From here, before I do anything with this image, I want you to know that the image that's in whatever you've chosen, it is placed in a container box so that you can simply click, drag, and drop your image into the square or whatever it is size container, and it will then resize it for you quickly. I'll demonstrate. So I'm seeing sweet potato casserole. I want to replace the pumpkin bread. It's a click, hold, drag, drop into that square, and it's immediately resized it to fit most of it. And of course, all images have circles and vertical symbols here so that you can resize the image, but that would mean you would need to move other things out of the way. But you can practice that on your own. Now let's go back to the images again. I'm going to reverse what I did using the undo button at the top. And you can always press Control-Z for zebra to undo your last action. Now, if I have my own image, how do I get it up into Canva and use it? It's very easy. What we'll do is, while here, going back to that vertical menu on the left, look for the option that says Uploads. When you click Uploads, if you have any files already uploaded, which I do because I work in Canva a lot, then it shows me all my images and videos and audio that I have uploaded. But if what you want isn't here, click the button for Upload Files. It's going to open up the directory system on your computer, and then you can choose by double-clicking the image you want. You'll just need to get to the folder that holds your images. Also, I want to say this before I forget it. There is an app for Canva. I use that one a lot. But let's say that you took, which you probably will, took the photo using your phone, then open up the app on your phone and upload your photo there, and it'll be here when you're working on a web version of it. It's much easier to work on web version for a bigger project here. But the app lets us go back in and edit quickly and upload any photos that we want to use. Now, with that said, let's come back into your design here. Now you know what to do about making editing changes. One other thing while we're here on this screen is if you want to create multiple cards in one file that you could then print out all at once, that's why you have the option at the bottom that says Add Page. But know this, that the Add Page is going to give you a blank page that you would have to add in your own text boxes, your own images, and just start completely from scratch. That's not part of your training here, but you can make a copy of this page. If you want to use this layout for the next recipe, all contained in one document, then now that you know how to make modifications, you can make a copy and as the new page. Here's how you would do that. Looking in the top right of this page, you'll see a lock button. You will see a button with a plus sign, and it says duplicate page. And once you get the first recipe going and everything's designed like you want, and you want to use that as the basis for your second recipe, then click duplicate page. It's duplicated it, and then you'll go through that same process of editing. You can also give page titles to your cards within the project. Now, with that said, you've finished everything, and now you are ready to share it with everyone. Or maybe it's just for you. In the upper right corner, click Share. I'm going to focus on sharing as it relates to your personal need, not as it relates to sharing a design with a group of people. For example, I have the pro version, so I can work with teams of people within the company and share my work. You can still share with others as well, but let's just focus on you getting this into a physical file. How are you going to do that? Down at the toward the bottom, there's the option for you to download. After you download, it will suggest a PNG file, but if you're wanting to have a physical document that you can print from, you can change it from PNG by clicking the down arrow, and you have the option to, rather than as an image, you can make it a file, a PDF file, especially if you want to print, whether you choose to send it to a printer, you print at your own printer, or you can use the print option that's built in Canva where it uses the Canva print service. Point is, though, at this moment is, I want to do a PDF file is what I want. I want to do a PDF file. And you can see there are two choices here. There's the PNG, the PDF standard. There's the PDF print. That one is suggested if you're sending it out to the printer. And I want you to know what the differences are between PDF standard and PDF print. Standard, it's best for digital sharing, like sending through email or posting online. It produces a smaller file size, which is quicker to upload and download. Then there is the PDF print, and like I said, that's best for printing. It's designed for high quality printing, and it produces a larger file size to ensure best resolution for physical prints. And there is an option, if you get an option for crop marks and bleed. What bleed means is it extends the design slightly beyond the edge of the document to ensure there's no white edges. I'm not going to get too technical with this. I think I am already. But I'm going to step away from that. We're going to stay with the basics, which is, how do I get this? How do I get this out? How do I get it printed? And how do I want it to go? I want it to be, whether I want it to be an image or in a PDF standard, especially if you are doing multiple recipe cards in the one file. With that said, now that ends your training on working with templates in Canva. Now it's just up to you to go and get started with creating your first recipe card. And I hope that you found this helpful, and there'll be more coming another time. But by the way, I do teach Canva classes. One more thing I wanted to tell you about that. Canva has a design school, and all their tutorials are free. So if you're not wanting to sit in a webinar, a live instruction, I like a combination of live instruction as well as self-study with whatever it is I'm learning, and you may be the same. But Canva does an excellent job with their learning tutorials, and you have the option to start from the very beginning. And to get to the design school, it's canva.com/design school. And that's what I'm showing you right now. This is their design school. It is free to learn from, free tutorials. I think you'll enjoy it. With that said, I'm going to officially end this training for you, and I hope you found it helpful. Go create some recipe cards.